Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it.
Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
I think the best way to describe Pete Weber is controlled chaos.
Even though he's not that big of a guy, somehow he still makes you scared.
You know that the guy's gonna just absolutely erupt. You just don't know when or what's gonna cause it.
A lot of people saw Pete for the first time on that viral video, the blooper.
It was ESPN's #1 not top 10.
Who do you think you are? I am.
A Yankee fan catches it. Who do you think you are? I am.
Some people think this guy is crazy, he's out of his mind, he's a joke. But the fact of the matter is, Pete Weber changed the game as we know it.
Every sport needs a bad guy. And every sport needs a hero. I just so happen to like to play the role of the villain. I don't call myself the best in the world because I suck. I call myself the best in the world because I am. I really believe that. When I started bowling, I was probably like 3 or 4 years old, running up there, pushing it down the lane. By the time I was 5, I got a special bowling ball drilled for me, 6 pounds. That's one of my best memories. Dad saw the passion that I had for the game of bowling. He says, I see it in your eyes. You have the fire, you have the will, you have the desire. You're gonna be the best. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Dad.
It's the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Dick Weber from St. Louis, Missouri, the all-time PBA leading money winner.
We'd see him on ABC Sports on Saturday, and things would come to a halt. I mean, Dad's on TV, let's go watch Dad bowl. Back then, yeah, it was a primetime sport. Actually, bowling on ABC Sports was the #1 show for 35 years till they took it off.
The pro bowlers were superstars. They were bigger than baseball players. They were bigger than football players.
The country was different, and bowling fit right in.
So as a kid, watching the ABC television show, so everybody knew Dick Weber, obviously, as the greatest, ambassador of bowling. And then you started hearing stories about he has a son.
The first group of players we have are 3 youngsters. They're all making their television debut. And probably the most famous rookie to ever hit the tour, Pete Weber's in the #3 position. He's the son of Hall of Famer Dick Weber.
Dad taught me how to bowl and then turned me loose. So at the age of 17, I dropped out of school because I loved bowling, and I thought school was a waste of my time. I broke through in 1982 with my first 2 wins, and I've been going strong ever since.
That's not perspiration, ladies and gentlemen. Those are tears of joy. He wins his 10th title, youngest ever to win that money. But he has a long way to go to surpass his father's great contribution to the game.
That's for sure.
Everybody loved Dick Weber. Wasn't so much the case for Pete Weber.
I think Pete struggled with following in his father's footsteps. Quite big shoes to fill.
Hi, I'm Dick Weber.
Dick Weber was the all-American nice guy and never did anything wrong. And I was supposed to be just like him. Prim, proper, and that's not me. You tell me not to do it, I did it. When I started showing my emotions on TV, people got upset about that and didn't really care for it. Oh, you can't do that on TV. That's not your dad-like. So what? I didn't care what people thought. This is my place of work. Don't me in my place of work.
Pete Weber's reputation as bowling's baddest boy is not without firm foundation. He's been suspended from the tour several times for conduct unbecoming a professional. That would include everything from complaining about lane conditions to walking off without finishing a frame.
It's no secret that you've had some encounters with rehab of some sorts over the years. I think 4 trips. Are you an alcoholic? Do you have a problem with drinking?
Well, I guess, yeah, I am an alcoholic, but I'm not going to quit drinking because somebody else is telling me I have to. If I want to do it, it's going to be because I want to do it.
I think Pete's worst enemy has been himself and his temperament over the years.
3 in a row. No.
And you picked it up, he's down on himself, and he's almost forgotten what gets him there.
I really thought about quitting. Things weren't going so good. My bowling was going downhill, and I kind of lost interest.
Oh, my gosh, in the 10th frame, what a bad time for a bad shot.
When you can't knock pins down, you just don't want to do it. To me, it's no fun, and when bowling starts being a job, then it's time to do something else.
He had his tail between his legs. He was a down, beaten puppy, and I didn't like seeing that.
At the same time, ratings for the PBA had started declining. You know, for a fan like me, there was a fear that there would be no Pete Weber anymore. You thought, if there's no Pete Weber, I don't even know if there's bowling. In 1997, ABC decided to cancel professional bowling.
Chris, it's fitting that a Weber will throw the final ball on ABC. His dad won the first telecast, which was actually taped in 1962 at Argo Lanes and shown later on in 63. Walter Ray Williams Jr. is the champ.
Pete Weber was at the lowest point of his career. The game itself was at the lowest point of its history. And so both of them needed a jolt.
When I came to the PBA, it was broken. It went from the highest numbers on TV for a long time to non-existence. It had lost its heroes. There was no one you wanted to aspire to or be inspired by. Pete was coming off of being thrown off the tour for a period of time. The previous commissioner had told me that Pete was trouble, and I'm saying to myself, this is my kind of guy.
Steve Miller pretty much gave me a green light to do whatever I wanted on TV. He said, you pretty much say off on TV and I won't find you.
See if Pete Weber still has anything left in the tank.
Quick answer to that question.
We went along through several tournaments. Nothing special had happened. And then all of a sudden, Pete gets into a finals match, is bowling a 300, is getting more and more animated as time goes on. And all of it came together. It was so beautiful.
Right now, Pete Weber, 5 strikes away from perfection. Weber gets a strike here after Wilson's Open. You're going to see Mount Vesuvius. Just full-blown eruption.
Threw a strike, and I just went, get this. Bam!
When he did his first crotch chop on TV, I looked around, I said, this is actually working.
People liked it. I kept doing it. They wanted me to be the bad boy, so I'll live up to it. Like I said, I don't care.
I'm back, and I am PDW.
So now, all the things that were getting Pete into trouble before, well, go figure, now they're the exact same things that are bringing the ratings up and are bringing bowling back to life. Pete was going to be the face of the PBA Tour from that moment forward.
Coming up, we're bowling with Pete Weber, the man who's turned the PBA into something really memorable.
Prize money was going up, visibility was going up, TV ratings were going up.
The ratings for bowling are beating the ratings for hockey.
Well, have you seen this guy, Pete Weber? Have you seen, do we have tape on this? Do we have this guy? Watch this guy.
He turned bowling around. The new owners of the PBA said, thank God for Pete. You know, he saved the PBA.
He was our rock star.
How about that one? What do you think about it? Give me some.
There you go. There you go.
When I got to do all them things, it was, yeah, I felt like a rock star. But like I say, you know, I'm just being me. I'm not anybody spectacular. You know, I've always said that whatever I do, that we've done. And what I mean by we've is me and Dad.
Hello and welcome everyone to New Jersey. It is with a touch of sadness that ESPN brings you the broadcast of the 62nd U.S. Open. Last weekend, legend Dick Weber passed on at the age of 75. He is certainly known as one of the most classy and wonderful representatives this sport has ever known.
When my dad died, it was a shock. After my mom told me, I took the phone off my ear and I threw it at the window. I cried. I was very hurt. I didn't know what to do. So I got dressed, I went to the bowling center, withdrew from the tournament that I was going to defend, and I told him that Dad passed away and that I needed to be home. I felt like period. I mean, there's no other way to feel. I knew Dad would want me to continue bowling, but I didn't feel like I wanted to. Had a conversation with all my family, and they told me, they said, Pete, this is not what your dad would want. This is not what your father wants you to do. He would want you to be out there bowling and holding up our name.
You grew up the son of a Hall of Famer in a bowling family like that. Was that difficult for you? Did that put a lot of pressure on you?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it really added any pressure at all.
Okay, now if you win tonight, that's 19 titles. It gets you one closer to your dad's 26. So what do you think, Dick? Looking at that, do you think he's going to catch you pretty quick?
Well, I hope so, Mike, because, you know, every father wants his son to follow in his footsteps, and I hope Pete does it, and I'm sure he will, because I know Pete's got confidence, and we have the confidence in him, so.
New Jersey is the site.
I mean, every U.S. Open, you know, there's a lot of expectations because it's the U.S. Open. But when Pete makes the show at the U.S. Open, the stakes are even higher. He would eclipse his father's record of 4 U.S. Opens. He would be the only player in PBA history to win 5 U.S. Opens. And so Pete's one win away from separating himself from his father's legacy.
Pete was 49 years old. Not really on that list of potential winners.
All right, Pete, you know what to do. Just let the ball go.
And the first match, with all this riding on it, I've never seen him so non-fired up. And halfway through the game, he's losing.
Ooh. Boy, this is something that you wouldn't expect from Pete Weber.
Stay on. And it went off, he knew.
And all of a sudden, somebody does something in the crowd, and Weber just gives him the stink eye.
See?
And is all over this guy. And the rest was history.
Kid in the audience cheered when I left the 10-pin. And everybody knows, don't piss me off when I'm bowling because I will beat you.
It almost seems like Weber bowls better when he gets this attitude he's got now, and now he's PO'd.
Weber trying for the big finish here, get a lead, put the pressure on. He does!
There you go. That's the Pete Weber that you like to see.
Pete Weber looking to advance here. It's in his hands.
Got it! So we get to the title match, and now, I mean, the stage is set.
It was the biggest game of my life. I was really just trying to ignore what Pete was doing.
Got it.
It's called sportsmanship, pal.
I wish we knew who he was talking to.
We've been watching over there trying to figure out who it is. But...
A theory that he created almost an enemy so that he could channel his anger and be so focused during the match is not something I would put past him. He remembered his anger towards that fan. He remembered his father. He remembered why he loves bowling. He knew he was on stage. And I think it all just exploded in everything that's Pete Weber.
He's got to have a strike. If he gets 9, we have a tie and we'll go to sudden death. If he gets anything less than 8, Fagan wins sitting on the bench.
Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it. And he got it!
Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
Well, as soon as I threw the strike to win the tournament, I looked right up and I said, we did it. And that was for both of us, not that I did it, we did it.
There he is, the age of 49. He passes his dad with his 5th win. And no one's ever won this U.S. Open 5 times until today.
What do you think your dad would say if he was still here?
Well, I know he was up there watching. Thanks, Dad. Sorry I had to pass you, but that's all right. I know he's there right with me, so everything's great. Everything's great.
To say that I wasn't proud, I couldn't have been more proud in my life right there.
I think it's really easy for people to look at this moment and view it as a failure because it ended up on so many blooper reels. It's not the way I view it. The intensity and the way it came out and how fired up that guy was, I think it's the greatest moment in the history of professional bowling. I mean, it was incredible.
An all-around maniac, Pete Weber!
These people who think Pete's a joke or think he's crazy, they're doing something that they never thought they were going to do, and that's watch bowling. To have someone be able to draw that fan base into our sport, we're in debt to Pete for the rest of our lives. He made bowling watchable.
You know, regardless of what anybody thinks about my reactions or what I did at the U.S. Open, I'm proud of myself, and I know Dad is proud of me because he was throwing every shot with me. You know, to me, I really don't care if it's a not-so-top 10 or a top 10. I was on SportsCenter, period.